What's up everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be reacting to the top 15 people that the FBI wants you to forget. So basically these are the worst of the worst, bro. Literally the worst of the worst people that have ever existed, committed the worst crimes ever. So yeah, stay tuned, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and like the video, and yeah, comment down below what else you want to see. You feel what I'm saying? I know I haven't uploaded in 6 months, man, that's beside the point.
What did he say? Throughout history, some people have been considered so evil that the FBI probably would have been happier to keep them and the details of their crimes away from the public. Here are 15 of those criminals. Number 1. Jamie Asuna.
Okay.
Jamie Asuna, also known as the man.
Them tattoos are insane. Look at them tattoos. Now, I gotta say something real quick before we continue this video. The people that be tattooing their faces, bro, they demons.
What?
Yeah, you heard it. They demons, bro. Like, you tattoo your face, that's a demon.
Lord have mercy.
And with 1,000 faces, referring to the tattoos, including Joker's smile and a pentagram, covering his face, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2011 killing of 37-year-old mother of 6, Yvette Pena, in the El Morocco Motel hotel room in Bakersfield, California. That hotel was said to be in a bad neighborhood and known for illicit activities going on inside of it. Pena is said to have fallen on hard times and was living at the hotel. Although he denied it for 6 years, he eventually confessed that he was, in fact, the one who was guilty of murdering her.
Wait a minute!
6 years? You denied the allegations for 6 years just to confess after all that time has passed. Like, what was the point of denying the allegations for 6 years? You could have just confessed and get it over with, bro. Like, the fuck? I don't understand. 6 years is insane, bro.
In 2017, in an interview with a female reporter named Olivia Lavois. As the footage was rolling, he said, "I did sadistically, premeditatively, deliberately torture and kill her."
I'm sorry for pausing the video so much, but did you just listen to that? My boy said, he basically said, I thought about it, I planned it, and then I did it. Oh my god. Damn! Nah,
when
that's
asked
crazy.
Why? He said, "Just I seen an opportunity. I didn't know her. I didn't know her. I met her. I was introduced to her. I met her like one time and I came back the next night and I seen an opportunity." He also boasted that he killed Pena the way he did so that he could have lasting memories of the ordeal. On March 28, 2017, Asuna pled guilty to killing Pena and was spared the death penalty for having done so. Asuna openly mocked members of Pena's family at hearings by smiling and waving at them. And Asuna's crime spree did not just stop because he was incarcerated. While in Corcoran State Prison, he was charged multiple times for assaulting guards by throwing various bodily fluids at them. Then on March 9, 2019, after almost 2 years without having a cellmate, a man named Luis Romero, age 44, was found dead in his cell. Ha ha.
Yo! Nah, yeah, this nigga needs to be, like, bro, okay.
Was written on the walls, along with "The Man with 1,000 Faces." Despite assumptions, Asuna's mother said he didn't come out of the womb, you know, an evil killer, or whatever they're saying. He was a normal, loving kid.
He didn't come out of the womb, you know, an evil killer or whatever they're saying. He was a normal, loving kid.
Asuna was diagnosed with unspecified schizophrenia spectrum, antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, likely due to his rough childhood, by psychiatrists. Number 2. Dale Hosner and Samuel Dietman.
Brother.
Dale Hosner and Samuel Dietman, a serial crime duo, both in their early 30s, committed their crimes for almost 15 months, from May 2005 to August 2006 in Arizona. The two, typically under the influence of methamphetamine, would randomly set objects on fire and drive around, target, and shoot at pedestrians and animals.
Wait! Whoa! Did you guys see that shit? That nigga just
objects on fire and drive around, target, and shoot at pedestrians and animals. Mainly.
That nigga just get lit on fire?
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Dogs and horses that they came across. Their crime spree ended when a series of tips helped connect Hosner and Diman to their crimes. In fact, so many people were calling in tips that Paul Penzone, who ran the Phoenix Police Department's silent witness at the time, said that he had to triple the amount of his staff due to handle the number of calls coming in. Make no mistake about it, there is evil in the world. He, Hosner, represented evil, Penzone said. The community was living in fear. There was not a waking moment that you didn't feel the intensity you could have cut with a knife, he added, referring to the time when Hosner and Diman were committing their crimes. One person was reported as a friend of Diman named Ron Horton, who said that he had confessed to some of the killings after drinking. At Hosner's trial, he was found guilty for over 80 felonies charged against him in a single trial.
Bro,
He
80
was sentenced
felonies
to
is
death
insane.
6 times. He killed himself before.
Hold on. Just listen to this. Listen to this.
A single trial. He was sentenced to death 6 times.
Huh?
He was sentenced to death 6 times.
Oh, wait. I don't understand. How can you sentence somebody to death 6 times? What? You're gonna kill him, revive him, and then kill him 6 times? Like, what? I don't get it. Like, how do you sentence somebody to death 6 times, bro? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Before he could be executed.
Oh, bro
Diman
committed
was
suicide.
sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility was parole. It is believed that the pair killed 8 and shot 29 people.
Damn.
Interestingly, weeks before his capture, Hosner interviewed Mike Tyson as the boxing photojournalist for Ring Sports and NightNews.com. Number 3. Charles Ng and Leonard Lake. Another pair of crime-committing buddies were Charles Ng and Leonard Lake. Ng, who was born in Hong Kong but moved to the United States from Canada on student visa, met Lake in 1981 through a survivalist magazine advertisement he placed. Both men were discharged from the Marine Corps, but for various different reasons. Lake was diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder, and he was medically discharged in 1971 after having a delusional breakdown while in Vietnam. Ng, on the other hand, was arrested by military for stealing weapons. He faced being court-martialed, but he somehow managed to escape. That's when he met Lake. However, he was not dishonorably discharged until 1984 after serving 18 months in the military stockade at the U.S. Dispensary Barracks, but we'll come back to that. After meeting in 1980, it became apparent that they were 2 peas in a pod, and Lake invited Ng to share a cabin near Wileysville, California, that belonged to the family of Lake's ex-wife named Clairlyn Balez. Next to the cabin, Lake built what he called a dungeon. Over the next year, Lake and Ng worked together to commit heinous crimes against males and females of all ages. In 1982, federal authorities raided the mobile home that Ng and Lake shared in Ukiah. They seized a large stash of weapons and explosives. Lake was released on bond, but he jumped bail and hid out at the cabin in Wileysville. Ng was returned to the Marines' custody. That's when he served his time for the theft before being discharged in 1984. When both men were out of custody again, their crimes continued, and they likely would have continued if it wasn't for Ng's kleptomania. On June 2, 1985, he was arrested for stealing a $75 vice from a lumber store in San Francisco and then fleeing the scene when an employee tried to approach him about the stolen item. Lake was with him at the time, but he was found in the car. He told the police that the whole thing was a misunderstanding and that he had paid for the vice. Both men were brought into question, but Lake sneakily swallowed a cyanide pill and died before a case could be brought against him.
Oh, shit.
He still remains on death row to this day. Together, they are believed to have killed between 11 to 25 people. Number 4.
Bro,
William
like, the thing I don't understand about these killings is like how do you like even kill somebody? Like, you just look at them in the face and then shoot them? Like, there's no emotion that like goes through your mind or through your body. There's like, you don't shiver. Like, bro, these guys are like demons, bro. Like, damn.
Bonin. William Bonin was also known as the Freeway Killer or Freeway Strangler because most of his victims were found dumped along a highway. Between May 1979 and June 1980, Bonin, sometimes with accomplices, killed 21 young men and boys in Southern California. Bonin was said to have had a rough upbringing. He was arrested in 1957 for stealing the tags, and he was reportedly SA'd by an adult counselor in the juvenile detention.
I see why he's a killer. I understand now. I see why he's a killer. Nigga went to jail and then got SA'd in jail. Yeah, bro wanted his revenge.
Center he was in. As he continued to grow up, his attraction to boys only grew. But at the urgence of
Why are you gay?
his mother, who did not accept his homosexuality, he got engaged to a woman named Linda. But at the age of 21, he returned home after being honorably discharged from the military after serving for 2 years to discover that his fiancée, who had since birthed their son, took off to marry another man. From there, his life...
Yeah. That's what the military be doing to some people, bro. You got your girl, you have your girl at home, you think, oh, she's at home, she's waiting for you, you're in the military fighting for your country, and you come back and she's with another man.
She belongs to the streets.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even blame him. Yep, I don't blame him. He was just taking his revenge in the world, bro. He was taking his revenge in the world.
Life continued to spiral. He began kidnapping and raping young boys in his car. His first victim is said to have been 14 years old in November 1968. At least one of the boys told his parents about what Bonin had done, and his mother called authorities to make a report. By January 1969, extensive reports were being made by local police to locate a man matching Bonin's description. And on January 28, 1969, an El Segundo officer stopped his vehicle. There was a 16-year-old with him in the car. He was arrested and charged on several charges regarding his inappropriate behavior, and he remained in custody on June 11, 1974. But his crimes would only continue and intensify upon his release. In 1975, he was arrested again and pleaded guilty to 2 more allegations of inappropriate behavior with a minor. During this second arrest, he told cops next time there won't be any witnesses. He was released on November 1st, 1978, and you guessed it, his criminal behavior was not curbed by the most recent stint in prison. From then on out, as he warned the police, he began killing his victims. He was eventually caught after killing a minimum of 21 boys and possibly 15 others that did not have enough evidence to prove Bonin's responsibility. For his crimes, he was punished to death, a sentence that was carried out via lethal injection on February 23, 1996, when he was 49 years old. He was the first person in California to be put to death that way. Number 5. Israel Keyes. Like Hosner and Diman, Israel Keyes would kill at random. In fact, Keyes had what he deemed as kill kits hidden all throughout the United States in case the opportunity for him to kill arose. His crimes were committed between 2001 and 2012. He has successfully linked to 3 murders, but is suspected of committing more than 11 others. Similar to many other serial killers, Keyes started out by killing animals. When he wasn't being required to do so for providing sustenance to his family, at least on one occasion, he skinned an animal alive in front of other churchgoers. It is believed that Keyes killed his first victims between 1996 and 1997 around Colville. As he grew into an adult, he would commit several SAs and enroll in the military when he was honorably discharged after a few years of service. He did not admit to killing during this time in the Army, but he did admit to raping 2 women. After his discharge, he moved to Washington and later Alaska, where he started a construction business. He has also owned property in New York. He admitted to committing 4 murders in Washington, 1 while in New York and 1 in Alaska. In addition, he is the suspect of a series of 2017 crimes committed by the Boca Killer near Boca Raton, Florida. He was caught by authorities after demanding ransom after killing one of his victims, and the police were able to track withdrawals he made from his account as he moved around the country. Keyes was eventually arrested in Texas on March 13, 2012. He was later extradited to Alaska. Before his trial, Keyes told investigators that he wanted to be executed within a year. However, he would ultimately kill himself on December 2, 2012 in his cell. He left behind drawings of 11 skulls, which many believe represented his 11 victims, and a pentagram. His death left many questions unanswered and cases unclosed. Number 6, Robert Hansen.
Damn,
The
bro.
next serial killer also has ties to Alaska. Robert Hansen, aka the Butcher Baker, had a minimum of 21 victims, many other cold cases that are suspected to be linked to him. Like many others on this list, Hansen was said to have a hard childhood. Namely, he was said to be shy, had bad acne, and stutter. For the cruel treatment he suffered growing up, Hansen wanted revenge. He seemed to distance himself from his old life as he grew into adulthood. He would leave his hometown state of Iowa, join the military, and eventually open a bakery in Anchorage, Alaska. Although he appeared to be just a simple, humble baker, Hansen clearly had a darker side that he concealed from members of his community. Throughout the 70s and early 80s, Hansen would prey on sex workers and dancers. He would bring his victims to his cabin and set them loose in the dense Alaskan wilderness. Then, after giving them some time to run and hide, he'd hunt them like they were animals.
Nah.
Fortunately for
Nah. Nah, bro. What? No, that cannot be a true. Bro, what? Are you kidding me? Nigga, catch these hands. You're tripping. Nigga, what?
one of his victims, she was able to get away. She was found running frantically down the street, handcuffed and barefoot. She was picked up and safely returned home. She went to the police and told them that she escaped while Hansen was preparing the plane he was planning to load her into and fly to his cabin. She provided a description of him, mentioned his stutter, and identified his plane. Although Hansen fit what she said perfectly, police were still hesitant to bring him in, as he was considered a beloved member of the community. When approached by the police, Hansen said that he did know her, but she was setting him up because she didn't want to pay the large fee she charged for her services. A friend of his backed this up, and he was released. However, as more women started to disappear, the FBI got involved. Eventually, a profile of the killer was developed, which, of course, Hansen fit to the T. They said he was an avid hunter, had low self-esteem, and a stutter with a history of being rejected by women. After obtaining certain...
Okay. You know what? I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. So basically, bro gets rejected every time. You feel what I'm saying? Bro gets rejected every time. And instead of, trying to get better and trying to improve on the things that he's fucking up on, you feel what I'm saying? He just decides to kill them. He's like, okay. He acts you out. You say no. Yeah, you dead. You dead now. Too bad. You cooked.
Warrants. Hansen's home, plane, and car were searched. Of note, they found a map marked with 24 tiny X's, some of which matched the locations where bodies were found. They also discovered jewelry, which were said to be the souvenirs that he kept from the victims. In 1984, Hansen confessed to killing 17 women. He was sentenced to 461 years plus life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah. Like, these sentences, like, it would have just been easier to sentence him to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole and just end it there. Because bro is never getting out. Like, he's not getting out. But 481 years? What? Plus life imprisonment? Like, bro, I do not understand. They be sentencing people to 10 life sentences. Like, bro, this nigga is dying and never coming back. There is no need to do that shit.
He died while in custody in 2014.
Yeah, like,
Number 7,
come on.
Tex Watson. Charles Tex Watson was a central member of the Manson family led by Charles Manson. He, along with 2 female cult members, killed the pregnant actress Sharon Tate and 4 others on August 9, 1969 in Los Angeles. The next night, Watson, this time with 6 other members of the cult, traveled to the Los Feliz neighborhood and killed Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. In October 1969, Watson reportedly knew that the cops were after him, and he fled to Texas, his home state. However, on November 30th, 1969, he was arrested. He was eventually extradited to California, after which he is said to refuse talking and eating. As a result, he lost 55 pounds and began regressing to a catatonic state. He was admitted to a hospital for 90 days but was found competent to stand trial after that. Following his trial in 1971, Watson was convicted of killing 7 people: Tate, her unborn child, the 4 others in her home, and the LaBiancas. He was also convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to murder. He was sentenced to death, but after the passing of People v. Anderson, all Californian death sentences imposed prior to 1972 were invalidated. Number 8. Shawn Great. Again, like so many on this list, killer Shawn Great was said to have a troubled childhood. His mother left the family when he was 11, and he was said to be depressed as a teenager. In total, Great killed a minimum of 5 people, including 2 of his ex-girlfriends and 3 other women in Ohio between 2006 and 2016. As to his 2 ex-girlfriends, Great wrote a letter to a news station claiming the motives for the crimes were the government assistance that took his victims' minds. Great was arrested on September 13, 2016. He entered a plea of not guilty, but later pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. However, after psychological assessments, it was determined that he was sane. The story is a little confusing from there, but Great was found guilty or pleaded guilty to his crimes, and he was sentenced to death. As of now, his execution is scheduled for March 19, 2025. The method of his execution is still undetermined, as lethal injection isn't used in the state anymore, but the law does not currently allow for any other method to be used. Number 9. The Doodler. Between 1974 to 1975, this unidentified serial killer is thought to have killed between 6 to 16 people. 3 people were lucky enough to live. He was given the nickname of the Doodler, aka the Black Doodler, because he would draw his victims before killing them. It is said that he would target homosexual men. He was also said to be a black man between 19 and 25 years old, 6 feet tall, and with a slender build. Police questioned the man as a murder suspect in the case, but the 3 surviving victims did not want to out themselves by participating in court proceedings. The man never admitted to the killings, but police thought it was highly likely that he was the one responsible. To date, no one has been apprehended or named publicly. Number 10. The River City Ripper. Another unidentified killer, but this one committed crimes much more recently than the Doodler. The River City Ripper killed 3 people and wounded another between 2020 and 2021 in Little Rock, Arkansas. According to the surviving victim, he appeared to be young, black, slenderly built, and over 6 feet tall. His last known killing was in April 2021. All of his victims were strangers and walking alone between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. It is believed that the perpetrator of the kidnappings is still roaming the streets to this day. Number 11. Gary Ridgeway. Here's yet another killer with the word river in his epithet. However, this one, unlike the previous, had been apprehended and punished for his crimes. You can't tell by looking at the former bedwetting, low IQ having man who, as of his trial, was middle-aged and mustachioed. But Gary Ridgeway, also known as the Green River Killer, is actually the country's 2nd most prolific serial killer. Ridgeway confessed to killing 71 people from 1982 to 1998.
What?
Although he wasn't apprehended until 2001, which is the year some people believe he stopped killing. Of those, he was only convicted of committing 49. It's speculated that he may have actually killed up to 90 people or more. Most of his victims were teenage girls and women in the state of Washington. He was given his nickname based on the river in which his first 5 victims were found, the Green River. He was finally arrested on November 30th, 2001 outside of the truck factory he worked at after DNA linked him to the murder of 4 individuals. He escaped death by signing a plea deal and agreeing to disclose the location of some of the bodies that were still missing. He instead was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Ridgeway may be remembered most, besides for his crimes of course, for the confession he made to psychologists about his sexual attraction to his mother and his fantasies about killing her. He is 73 years old. Number 12. Jeffrey Dahmer. No list of prolific serial killers is complete without the infamous Jeffrey Dahmer.
I've heard of this
plagued
guy.
the streets of Milwaukee, Wisconsin between 1978 to 1991. During that time, he is said to have killed 17 men and boys. However, he was only convicted of 15 killings out of 16 that occurred in Washington. The treatment he received as a child is hotly contested. Some say that he was neglected, while others say that he was doted on by both parents. But whatever way he was treated, he recalled feeling uneasy with the solidity of his family, as his parents argued a lot. He also became obsessed with animals as a child, a typical trait amongst future killers. Turns out he was right to question.
Nah, bro said a typical trait amongst future killers. Nah, the way he said that shit was jokes. Like, what?
The strength of his parents' relationship. They divorced in 1978, coincidentally the same year in which Dahmer committed his first murder. He had just graduated high school 3 weeks before the incident. At the urge of his father, Dahmer joined the army, but his penchant for drinking alcohol deemed him unsuitable for his service. He was discharged in 1981. Dahmer's murder streak resumed during his late 20s and early 30s. Most of his targets were black, but he seemed to also go after men who were indigenous, Asian, or Latino. He initially came in contact with most of his victims in or around gay bars. Throughout that time, Dahmer was known to rent out rooms in hotels or bring men back to his grandma's house. However, after she kicked him out, he rented a one-bedroom apartment. But 2 days after the move-in, he was arrested for having inappropriate relations with a minor. He pleaded guilty to those related charges, but he was released from custody. So the murders continued. By May 14, 1990, Dahmer moved out of his grandma's house and into an apartment again. Within 1 week of moving, he killed his sixth victim. Dahmer was eventually apprehended on July 22, 1991. One of his victims had managed to get away from his apartment and was able to flag a police officer down. Officers accompanied him back to the apartment where they eventually find evidence of the horror Dahmer had inflicted. On July 25, 1991, he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. By August, he was charged with 11 additional killings. Questions about Dahmer's sanity were raised and argued during the proceedings, but it was ultimately decided that he could stand trial. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. However, he could not live out that much time. On November 28, 1994, he was killed by a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, in prison. The Alphabet Killer, New York. The Alphabet Killer was named as such because all his victims had first and last names that began with the same letter: Carmen Colon, Wanda Walkowitz, and Michelle Mazzina. Aside from the commonality, the 3 victims were all female children between 10 and 11, considered to be on the short side of their age, and were found in Rochester, New York. Their murders took place between November 16, 1971 and November 26, 1973. The only evidence of who the Alphabet Killer might be is a composite drawing of a man seen in one of the victims, Mazzina, prior to her death, that was created and distributed. The murders of the 3 children sparked national public outrage. There have been many people that authorities have suspected to be guilty of the killings, but no one, except for the man himself, knows who he is. Number 14, West Mesa Bone Collector. This killer is thought to be one person acting alone or several people connected to a group of some kind.
So they haven't
Whatever
found him?
or whoever is responsible, the remains of 11 women were found in 2009 in the desert of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The killings were committed between 2001 and 2005. The victims were between 15 and 32 years old, and most were Latina. Several of them were also involved in sex work and drugs. No official suspects have ever been named in connection with the murders. Number 15, the Zodiac Killer. When talking about unidentified serial killers, it would be foolish to leave out probably the most infamous one in recent history. Like Jack the Ripper, the Zodiac Killer sent cryptic messages and other items surrounding the murders he committed to the police. The Zodiac claimed to have killed 37, of which 5 had been confirmed, people in total. It's believed that most of his crimes were committed in the late 1960s in San Francisco and Napa Valley. Several suspects have been brought forth, but no one has ever been apprehended.